very much, other than making friends with the impala. All of whom, most of whom, no, some of whom seem to be rams, and the others ewes. The rams are all up front, and they seem to be eating a bit of sand already, with the grass and the fringes of the sand, and then the ewes on the other side. In the background, we can hear the beautiful bird calls of the late summer afternoon in the Lowveld, including a black-headed oriole, which is making that liquid call. If you have just joined us and wondering what you're watching, this is called the Africam Show. It is brought to you by explore.org, and you can send through any questions that you might like to. And I would suggest that you do that on any of the social media platforms that you are able to access. I'll do my best to answer any questions you have, unless, of course, they're deeply confusing, in which case I shall simply ignore them. Quickly accessing. There we go. Okay. We'll keep this going a little bit longer than we would normally, so that we can go to a couple of the other cameras before the end of the show at 4:30. We'll just go a bit longer than that. Let's go and see if we can perhaps see some of the other cameras. We've got cameras throughout Southern Africa, South Africa, Kimberley, which is in the Northern Cape. Lots of flamingos in that part of the world, on the Botswana border at Madikwe Game Reserve. Tau, that's the area in Madikwe where we have a camera. And then there are quite a few here in the Lowveld. In the Lowveld, of course, it's a low-lying area that is around about 400 meters above sea level or so. And it's in the northeastern parts of South Africa, and it eventually becomes the coastal plain of Mozambique. OMG23, you say, are there any sable or roan antelope in camera view? Not currently, no, but we do see sable at Campus Rus near Kimberley, if I'm not deeply mistaken, so that'd be quite nice if we were to see them. Hello Anna Emerson, hello Lisa Walker from Pennsylvania and Boston, respectively. I know I'm not going to try and do the Boston accent again, like I did last time. It was embarrassing. Clara Cotter, you say you love all the animals. Well, that's very good, Clara. I'm sure they love you too. I hope you love all the plants as well, because, of course, without the plants, the animals would have nothing to eat. Unless we were talking about leopards and lions, in which case they would. But not for very long. Hello, Peggy. Good morning to you, wherever you happen to be on planet Earth. The oriole's calling over there at the moment, and of course the gentle lapping of the water as it flows inexorably towards the Indian Ocean. The big fig tree is the main sort of bit of flora that you can see there. The big sycamore fig. I'm going to find out if we can go to another camera. I feel that these impala and waterbuck have entertained us sufficiently, as has the singing of the black-headed oriole. Oh, here's some baboons having a bit of a tough time. They're having a bit of a spat, an internal spat within the troop. They'll be in one of these trees, behaving badly. Now we're at a very special camera. We have come to Kruger Shalati. Now, Kruger Shalati is just near Skukuza, which is the headquarters of the Kruger National Park. And the Shalati itself is a train that it doesn't move anymore. It is now static on the bridge over the Sabi River, and that's where this camera is attached. In fact, it is attached just to the underside of the pool deck that is on the train. I don't think the pool was on the original train, but it's on it now. And this is the view that you have from there, and we're looking down towards the east over the Sabi River. It's very nice. Apparently there was a duiker there. I no longer see it. It's either been eaten by a crocodile, drowned, hiding in the reeds, or just absconded. Very nice. This is the most beautiful view in the mornings. You can watch the sun come up every day in the Lowveld, well, unless it's too cloudy. And there are two crocodiles that live around here, apparently a very large male, or very large female, and a smaller male. And the other thing to look out for here is the Cape clawless otter. There is a Cape clawless otter that hangs around here. So it's always a good idea to keep a lookout for the Cape clawless otter. We've got 3 cameras here. One that's looking east over the Sabi River, one that looks sort of northwest into the bank, and one that is actually on the bank and looks up towards the train. Magnificent place to stay if you ever come to South Africa and you're staying in the Kruger and you fancy a bit of a treat. Well, you can do a lot worse than staying at Kruger Shalati. Very entertaining and gorgeous place to stay. Ah, fascinating. That looks like a Toyota Hilux going across the ford or the causeway of the Sabi River. Hopefully those are some happy punters of the Kruger National Park enjoying the holiday. May have even been a maintenance man. As you can see, the Toyota Hilux is a popular vehicle here in South Africa. Now we've come to Naledi. Hello, Zygote. Zygote, you say hello, James Henry. Hello, Zygote. What a name. I hope you're slightly bigger than a zygote. Right, we're at Naledi now, and there is a bird that's just flown off. I'm afraid I couldn't identify it. And here, Naledi is in Baluli Nature Reserve, which is part, or Olifants West Game Reserve, which is part of Baluli Nature Reserve, which in turn is part of the Greater Kruger National Park. So about, I'd say, 3 kilometers south of previously. And we're just looking here at some elephant dung, not too old, not too fresh. The water and the purple pod terminalia top left. Beautiful tree that is very distinctive in this part of the world. Don't see them so much further south in the Kruger, where it's a little bit wetter, very slightly wetter than it is up here in the central regions of the Kruger. Closest town to this is the dubious settlement of Hoedspruit, and the views from here out over Hoedspruit to the Drakensberg Mountains are absolutely spectacular, especially at sunset, because it is behind those mountains that our very own star sinks. There are a couple of dragonflies knocking about, no doubt taking advantage of the last of the summer before they have to go off. I believe you lost my audio, my sound, which is not very good. I apologize for that. Not sure if you can hear me now. There's a kudu. Fantastic. Brilliant. Lovely kudu. Browsing. Not sure which camera we're at right now. Okay, I think they can hear me now. That's good. That means you can hear me now. And this is a bull kudu. Sounds like we're back on the Olifants River, which is nice. And he'll be enjoying the greener vegetation on the river, and he'll be spending extended periods here as we go into the dry months. There we can hear the beautiful call of the black-collared barbet going, "Too puddly, too puddly, too puddly, too puddly, too puddly." Hello, Jack Grumbly. Zygote, you say my sense of humour hasn't changed. No, Zygote, my sense of humour hasn't changed. I'm astounded that you as a zygote even have a sense of humour at this stage. You must be very advanced indeed. I can't see exactly what that kudu is eating. It looks like, I'd hazard a guess, it's a russet bush willow, a very small one, Combretum herreroense. Whatever it is, it's very tasty. Possibly only for the kudu, not us. I've tried to eat them. It's like eating sandpaper, and mixed with a bit of tar and tannin. I've always found the kudus have a spectacularly interesting arrangement of white lipstick, and anything white that you see on an animal, you will normally hear from any guide that it is some kind of signal to other conspecifics. So to other kudus, that white lipstick must be some kind of a signal. I'm not sure if that is true or not. It is most likely true, but the kudu has got a magnificent set of lips covered in white fur, and I'm not really sure why that should be attractive to other kudus. But it's very attractive to me. I find it amazing. Zygote, you say this is a magnificent kudu bull. He is. He's still going to grow a little bit more. You can see that his horns are turned towards the inside, and they'll turn again towards the outside, and then that's probably about as big as they'll get when he's about 8 years old, after which he'll probably pop his clogs. I find it absolutely fascinating that kudu bulls only live apparently about half as long as kudu cows, which live up to 14 or 15 years. And there are various explanations for that. One of the most, I suppose, plausible explanations is that those horns make it extremely difficult for the kudu to escape from anything that might be trying to chase it. Not so much in this kind of vegetation, but where it often lives in the thick bush. Can you imagine trying to run through the trees with two large umbrellas stuck to the top of your head? It would be quite difficult. And the only way that you could do it would be to lift your head up and therefore push the horns or the umbrellas towards the back, but then you wouldn't be able to see anything. You'd just see the sky. So you'd probably run into a tree, bang your head, and the lion would eat you. I'm not entirely convinced by that argument. I suspect that their shorter lifespan has got much more to do with a large sort of concentration of stress hormones that probably infuses them as they get older towards breeding age. And I suspect that the stress of fighting and trying to maintain status and harem sort of dominance results in their losing condition quite quickly after a certain age. I believe that there is a dung beetle at the Naledi camera where we were previously. I think that we should hie over there as soon as humanly possible so that we might observe the dung beetle. Ah, there it is. It has already made its ball. Now, is this the nuptial ball or is this the brood ball? So the dung-rolling type of beetle, like this one, makes two kinds of balls. Most of them do anyway. This one's, I think, probably drunk because it seems to be about to sink its ball in the water. No, it's turned round. Good. There are two kinds of balls, nuptial and brood, and the nuptial ball is very romantic. The male dung beetle lands on a pile of fresh dung, rolls a ball, and attracts a female to the ball, and they then go off together, and while they are in the process of being romantically inclined towards each other, they eat the dung. Lovely. And then the female goes back to the ball, not to the ball, to the dung pile, and she makes a new dung ball, and she lays her egg in it and then takes it off to bury it. This is the most incompetent dung beetle I've ever seen. It appears to have lost its ability to navigate. It appears to have lost its ability to push its ball in the right direction. And if it's not very careful, its brood ball, I'm assuming it's the brood ball because there's only one on it, its brood ball is going to end up in the water, and that's not going to be good for the eggy inside. Goodness. I think also, I know I'm being rather nasty to this beetle, but the ground looks fairly flat from this perspective, but it isn't. It's a lot more sloped and bumpy than it might appear on the camera. It can be almost painful watching this kind of thing because, it would be so much easier. It would be so much easier to pick the thing up and move it to where you think it wants to go. And I've tried to do that. I've tried to help them cross roads and get away from water like this, and it just confuses them. They either fly off and leave the ball, or they just take the ball straight back to where you picked them up. So you just have to watch them and let them cope with life on their own. They don't like to be helped, these dung beetles. Perhaps this one is on some record-breaking circumnavigation of the Naledi Dam. Now it looks like it's got to go uphill. Obviously, this takes a massive amount of strength. And a dung beetle is able to move, I think if I remember correctly, something like 700 times its own body mass. That's like me being able to bench press. Let me try and work that out for you. 4,900 kilograms, 4.9 tons. That's quite a lot. I can't bench press 4.9 tons. Every time it pops up onto the top of the ball like that, what it's doing is just reorientating, and it's orientating using the polarization of the light. And it's actually a long and involved and fascinating discussion as to how insects and dung beetles in particular are able to navigate using polarized light. I shall not get into it today. It seems to have rolled the dung ball straight back to the dung. Yes, I think that we can safely conclude that this is a deeply incompetent or drunk dung beetle. A whole lot of flies flying around there, obviously, you can see them. That's not rain or snow. It is quite a fresh pile. It looks very wet. And this dung beetle is particularly poor at seeing polarized light, obviously. Andy FL2, you say this could be a foul ball. Yes, I think that it is long since past being a foul ball. Come on, beetle. Well done. The amount of energy required to do this is absolutely astounding. All of it gleaned and digested and absorbed from the nutrients left over in the dung that the elephant didn't want or couldn't extract. Now you can see the shadows are quite long now in the low veld, And the dung beetle, using this polarized light, is able to tell how the polarization of that light changes according to the time of day. And the only way it can do that is by having a very accurate internal clock, which is entirely genetic and absolutely astounding. And the dung beetle is not the only animal that has that. There are many animals that have that internal clock. And so it goes into the grass, and we lose sight of our dung beetle and hope that she finds a good hole for her dung ball and that her baby lives to fly itself to various wet dung piles over the course of its life. All right, everyone, sorry very much for the technical troubles that we had during the course of our show. Ooh, we've got some mongoose there. We'll just have a quick look while I tell you that on Thursday we have got a show called Wild Moments, the second episode. It will have me in it and also Jamie Patterson, who is a wildlife expert and training wildlife vet. So we'll chat about things, all wildlife, or well, we'll chat about the highlights from all the cameras on Thursday in our show called Wild Moments. So we look forward to seeing you then. In the meantime, we'll leave you with these banded mongoose, which seem to have found some delicious things to eat.